let's talk about 2020.
All right, so to get started, I actually have all my resolutions in my 2020 planner. I always love to find and pick out like the most colorful and like useful planner, or one that just really reflects me and my personality. Usually at the end of the year, my planners are looking a little worn for wear. They're very well loved, and I think that the binding and the sturdiness of the cover really helped to keep this planner intact. So I was really happy with it, and of course I went with this nice colorful planner. I don't know, I like color block graphic design, big chunky things. So I opened it up and I actually noticed that the first thing I have in here is this like draft of my resolutions. I just see like resolutions and some things crossed out. I distinctly remember at the end of last year drafting out my resolutions. I wanted to like erase and rewrite them again. So let's see, let's take a look. This planner had a bunch of stickers in it that I didn't use. That's unfortunate. I'll have to use them in my next planner. I might show you guys my 2021 planner. Here we go. Okay, so I actually wrote it in like the note, like there was a note section for each month, and I wrote my resolutions in the January notes section. So here we go. All right, 2020 New Year's resolutions. First one I have here is start brewing kombucha. Wow. Okay, so I know with this one, I think I was looking for something new to add to my repertoire of, I've tried this, I've tried something new. So I did not brew kombucha. I did not even think about it. I really don't think I set myself up for success on this one. I think I just wanted to brainstorm something quick that was fun and was something that I never tried before. And like I enjoy kombucha from time to time. So of course I would, enjoy my own brewed kombucha, right? Sure, like I can kind of see where my thought process was with this, but I don't have a lot of space in my apartment, so I honestly don't know where I would have stored like large containers of kombucha to drink. And also, as far as like drinking beverages goes, I usually just drink water, so I don't even know if I had like a container of it or a jar of it, if I would have turned to it easily. Like I don't know if I would be in that habit. I think if I wanted to do this resolution again, I'd be in a place that had a larger kitchen, so I would feel like I had the tools that I needed to succeed and like properly do this resolution. It's something I do want to try in the future. I always like new cooking methods and giving those things a go. But yeah, this one just didn't come through. Moving on to the next one. Run a full marathon. Okay, so this one is loaded. This was a big struggle this year. So I enjoy running. It's something I got into a few years ago, and I have kind of a off-on relationship within it. I wish I had some consistency. Unfortunately, I don't, and that's something that I really need to work on, building consistency and determination. I actually did get pretty close to this goal, but I did sign up for the NYC Runs Brooklyn Marathon that happens in October. A friend of mine is a runner and she really loves Walt Disney World, and she invited me to go to a marathon weekend with her that is supposed to be in early 2021. And I also planned to go to that, and I was really excited, thinking, all right, great, I'm gonna hit my first full marathon in 2020 and then have a second one lined up for the very beginning of 2021. So both of those marathons were canceled, unfortunately. I mean, after a certain period of time, I saw it coming, but I was still training for a marathon like it was going to happen. So the longest run I did was 20 miles. I consider that a partial completion. I, did not run an official timed marathon. That's, I think, for me, how I would fully cross that off my list. But I did run 20 miles by myself. And hey, that's a really important step in that direction. And I think that's some decent progress. So I'll consider that one half done, or like progress. So that's good. My next resolution was learn a new skill, which is really vague. I have to call myself out on that one. I should be more specific. I think I could have set myself up for success better if I defined what that skill was. I think at the time, at the beginning of 2020. I just didn't have a skill in mind that I necessarily wanted to perfect or learn. I did take a basic computer science course that was, designed for very much a beginner, and I completed that module, which I feel really happy about it. So that was really useful, and I think that just helped to set a better foundation for my role in my own company, and just kind of helped to broaden horizons and make me a little bit less scared of the technical side of things. Learned, and something that I just used to kind of broaden my horizons there. If I could rewrite this resolution, I would have picked something specific to focus on. I think that would have been really important. But hey, I wanted to keep it open to just accommodate what the year would hold, and I did want some basic computer science, so I'm really happy about that one. So we'll consider that one complete. Check. Another resolution I had was run another half marathon under 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So this was less than the time of my half marathon I ran in 2019. So I think I was just looking to do a better time for 2020. Didn't have an official half marathon that I ran. I didn't have a timed one, so I don't really have a confirmation or completion on this one. But again, I did run up to 20 miles. I did over 13 miles at least a handful of times. I'd say at least 5 times. The quantity was there. I don't know about the quality, but I'm pretty happy about that. So you know what, even though I didn't make this official time that I had originally written for my resolution, I'll consider this one done, just because again, this was a crazy year. I do want to be forgiving to myself and loving of myself, so that's important. So that one is done. My next one was start composting. So this is something that has been in the back of my mind this whole year of wanting to do. Where I live, they have drop-off sites where you can drop off your food scraps, and the city actually composts it, which is really great. And I also discovered that on my commute, I could easily drop off my food scraps in the mornings on my way to work. I learned the composting schedule, and I was really prepared for that. But with this year and with everything that was going on, buying a compost bin was not at the top of my priority list. And it just didn't happen. And once the pandemic got into full swing, the city shut down the compost collection. So I'm sure I could have found another resource in order to compost, but I didn't have that easily accessible resource available to me. So in a way, this is a reflection of me maybe not rising to the challenge and thinking of another way to tackle this resolution. But I do want to be forgiving to myself in this crazy year. So it's something that's on my mind, and I'm really excited to take a second look at this in 2021 and think about maybe a backup plan since composting is shut down. So that's something I'll be researching for 2021 for sure. Next goal is weight related. I'm sure there's other ladies out here watching this. I feel like a lot of women have really complicated relationships with their body and their self-worth, and how it connects with their weight. Over the years, I've lost weight, I've gained weight, and unfortunately with this pandemic, I have gained weight. So if I'm looking at this resolution to be under a certain weight, essentially I wanted to be in about 40 pounds lighter than I am right now by December 2020, I definitely did not hit that goal. Gaining the weight has caused me to take a step back and look at the aspects of my life that may be causing, whether that's health related, maybe you're uncontrollably gaining weight and something needs to be checked or changed or adjusted, that sort of thing, or maybe it's caused by less activity and more eating. For me, it's definitely the latter. Being able to sit here and talk about it, I think, really raises the accountability, and it's something I'll be thinking of for 2021. I do want to lose it for health. I don't think it's healthy to, in my case, to have gained weight and keep that on. I know it's not good for my body. So I'm going to rethink this one as far as health goes, but yeah, we'll think about that for next year. Right. So my next resolution is having gazelle intensity and have emergency fund fully funded by the end of 2020. Something that I wanted to do in 2020 was to have better financial literacy, By New Year, I had ideas of what that would look like, and I had already begun learning some things. And at the end of 2019, I was listening to Dave Ramsey and really learning all about him and what he does. So the next step after getting out of debt is having a fully funded emergency fund. So I crunched the numbers and realized that I wanted to have a 6-month emergency fund just for that peace of mind, and especially then watching everything happen in this crazy year. Something Dave talks about is having gazelle intensity, so essentially just really narrowing in on that goal and just running as hard as you can until you can get there. Now, I have to say, I did not complete this one. I do not have a fully funded 6-month emergency fund that I would prefer. I am at 3 months, which is great. But for me, I set a pretty high number for my personal budget just to have that extra peace of mind. Have to pause saving in my emergency fund so I could save for a move. I know my lease will be up in March. I'm going to be moving at that time. So that way, like if I do move in March, that I'm not completely breaking the bank and then having to pull from my emergency fund when I really shouldn't, because I'm anticipating this expense, when I move. But, I'm really proud of this, and it's crazy to think about. I think for 2020, the biggest thing I learned was financial literacy. So, learning different methods for me, trimming a lot of fat for my budget. I saved a ton of money. I crunched the numbers and I saved about, I think it was 28% of my income, which doesn't sound like a lot, but once you consider that you have, taxes coming out of your gross pay and, insurance and groceries, like basic bills, like nothing extra at all. After that, and then especially like with my rent and everything, like it adds up, especially in a high cost of living area. I'm really proud of that number. Personally, I like to consider this resolution accomplished, or as far as like I'm proud of where I am with it. Do I have a fully funded emergency fund? No, but I'm really proud of the steps I have taken, and I'm really looking forward to where I end up in 2021 financially. So fingers crossed there. Next on my list was get a cat. This one is so unfortunate. I really wish I could say that I had a successful resolution here and I could pick up a cat that you could all meet. But the cards just didn't, the cards were not in my favor here. So of course with the pandemic, I had to think about what like the next year will hold. Where will I be living? Can I live in this apartment anymore? Because my living situation is so unsure, I realized that this would not be the right time to bring a pet into my life. I think that's always the biggest important consideration before you get a pet is, are you really ready to adopt? I think sometimes people make spur of the moment decisions that maybe aren't right for them in the long run. So I didn't want to, regret my decision later on down the road. So no cat this year. We'll see what the future holds. I really have to just see where I settle and where I end up. All right, and my last resolution, which I think is my favorite because it was the most casual, is go on at least 5 hikes. This is something I successfully completed, and I'm really happy about that. Stayed local in my area. Obviously, I wasn't doing any big traveling or, trips out of state or the like, but even just getting outside in your local area or, immediately outside it, like where you can safely go to, I think opens up a whole world of possibilities. It's soothing to see something new and to change your scenery. Even if it's just a day trip or a half day trip, having that change of scenery, walking around, seeing something new is really beneficial. Is really beneficial. So I was able to do that this year, and I think especially with the pandemic and being cooped up inside, being able to explore outside safely with masks on and in a natural area where there aren't a lot of people was really a great safe exploration for me, and I'm really happy I did that, and I got some good outside time in outside time in this year. I'm gonna roll with it. So those are my resolutions, and I'm happy to have talked them through. Something I'll be open to in 2021 is amending and changing my resolutions as the year progresses, because again, life happens, things come up regardless of a pandemic. It's important, I think, to keep your resolutions more fluid and to be forgiving of yourself, if you don't meet them or if things change. And also, sitting down at the end of the year to realize like maybe why you didn't meet those goals and talk it out with yourself. Again, I think there's a couple here that I should have been a bit more specific with or changed the wording, had a better goal in mind. That would have been better. Something I really want to do for my 2021 resolutions is I always pick big monumental goals for my resolution. I think I get the word resolution in my head and I think that, okay, well, this is something really big that I have to change. That's like life changing and a big notable thing that I can post on Facebook and Instagram. You know what I mean? Like you want that like big life moment that you can get a lot of recognition for, whether it's just from yourself or if you're sharing it out to other people, right? But I think with resolutions, you need to have a healthy mix of, sure, like those big goals. I mean, shoot for the moon. It's important to have those things in your life, but then you also need to have smaller everyday things, maybe small routine changes to shoot for in your life as well, because even though those are smaller, they're going to be a lot easier to reach, and I think they're going to give you a lot more satisfaction if you get to the end of the year and see that you're able to easily complete those. So that's something to keep in mind as you're preparing for 2021 and writing your 2021 resolutions. So important to visit. I might do a video where I go over my 2021 resolutions after I set them and explain the process behind those. I was happy to go over my 2020 resolutions with you all, and stay tuned. Thanks so much for watching.